Well, a party's just the perfect place for murder. Overdue Doctor Who review. We keep moving along, and before we get into the latest one that I'm going to talk about, I say latest one, these things are old as heck now. I'm old. My mortality is staring me in the face. But before we fall down that existential rabbit hole, let's just point out that this particular video is brought to you by Radio vs. the Martians. It is a podcast that talks about all manner of geeky things. It's the McLaughlin Group for Nerds, Mike Gillis, Casey Dorn, and a revolving number of guests. They come in, they talk about all sorts of stuff. Superhero movies, comic books, wrestling, Arnold Schwarzenegger films. When they do that, it's really kind of amazing. And it is always fun. It's always funny. Sometimes even a little insightful. RadioVersusTheMartians.com or wherever you get your podcast. So, we are now up to The Unicorn and the Wasp. And this one is kind of a funny one because on paper, there's a lot for me to take issue with. And even off paper, there's a lot that I do actually take issue. God, I can speak. Issue with. But ultimately, I still kind of enjoy this. And I think it's a little bit like Robot of Sherwood for me. In that the performances and the chemistry and the banter between the leads is what elevates it above the actual story. Because the actual story is kind of like, and this is also one of those times where I feel like Doctor Who is a little too self-aware. I'll get to that, though. So we've got the Doctor and Donna in the 1920s at a party, which of course has Donna all excited, which I love that. I love it. Here's the thing. Like, she gets really pumped up for this party, but back-to-backing these the way that I am for this rewatch, she gets so excited everywhere she goes. Goes to ancient Rome, super excited. Goes to another planet, super excited. Goes to the 1920s, super excited. I love how thrilled she is everywhere she ends up. Oh God, I love Donna so much. So we've got 1920s, so we've got lovely, stiff upper lip British folk and a nice posh party, and Agatha Christie, played very well by an actress who I should have looked up and whose name I will now put at the bottom of the screen so that I don't have to stop what I'm doing and go grab my phone and check it and then edit it, because I don't like to edit because I'm lazy. This all reflects really badly on me. Anyways, she's quite good. She has a great rapport with both the Doctor and Donna, which is kind of essential. I mean, any good guest appearance needs a solid rapport with both the Doctor and the companion, ideally, at the very least with the Doctor. And she absolutely has that. Plus, I like sort of the recreation of an Agatha Christie setting. We've got our list of suspects. We have an isolated location. We've got, nobody's got a decent alibi. And I like all that. And the thing is, I think it is just the and part of it might also be I'm partial to a good mystery anyways, although it's debatable how good a mystery this actually is on the merits of a good mystery story. But I'm kind of a sucker for the time period, and I'm kind of a sucker for the general vibe of an Agatha Christie style mystery. So it gets me to overlook stuff that otherwise bothers me. So and also, like I said, the episode was too self-aware. In some areas it is, but in others, it's just self-aware enough. Which is that not only does it kind of point out and hang a lampshade on the whole, wait a minute, we're solving a murder mystery with Agatha Christie, what are the odds of this? They do kind of have a lampshade hanging joke with Donna going, that's like having Dickens at Christmas with ghosts. And, they kind of pointed that out back in The Unquiet Dead as well, I'm pretty sure. But what the extra bit that they have here that sells it for me is they have the whole thing with the Vespa form sort of coming to a knowledge of itself and what it is, activating the Firestone, and because his mother was reading an Agatha Christie novel at that time, and that was what was in her mind, at the same time he got his history as an alien species dumped into his head, he also got Agatha Christie dumped into his head, so he thinks that's how society and the world functions. So it actually gives a reason why this insanely contrived what are the friggin' odds thing is kind of happening. And while sometimes, like, there's a fine balance for that. Sometimes it's not necessary to explain why the ridiculous thing that's happening is happening. But there are some times where, like, I appreciate at least a token acknowledgement that there's a reason. And in this case, I did appreciate that. What I meant when I said it might be a little too self-aware, it has to do with the way in which it kind of unfolds. So, like, we've got the classic interrogating all the possible suspects, but it's things like the wibbly, visual for when we go into the flashbacks. Like, that's self-aware in a way that just comes off as trying to be cute, and it just comes off like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of effect. Like, oh, flashback, woo, it's not necessary. And they like layer it because they have like the what is it, a colonel. He like woo into a flashback of him being in the library reminiscing, and then within the flashback woo to what it is he's thinking about. Like this, it's just stop. It makes it all just slightly too goofy, which again, it is kind of a goofy idea, but like, somebody's dead. It's a murder mystery. I kind of wish it was taken a little bit more seriously in terms of the overall tone of the thing. I've also complained in the past about the Vespa form, about the fact that it's just a giant wasp. And I still don't like that. The way that the whole thing pans out with why it is in terms of its father and the vicar being being this unknowing secret son and all that, like, all that's fine. And even, the fact that this person who theoretically should have retained some empathy towards humanity because he was still raised as human, even when he got all this dumped in his head, like, suddenly turns and, like, he's ready to kill whoever. I'm even kind of willing to go with that, but giant wasp, like, ultimately what I don't like about that is it's just lazy. It's the same issue I have with the cat nuns. It's just taking something that we already have on Earth and making it bigger or making it humanoid. Like, ooh, it's so alien. Like, well, no, it's a wasp. It's big, but it's a wasp. And that kind of takes it takes the imagination out of it because there's no imagination that goes into it. And it also, I know, because last time I complained about this, a million people pointed this out to me, and I guess I didn't make this point clear enough. I know that a wasp is used in one Agatha Christie story. The show itself points that out. But it's not like wasps were a big recurring theme with her. They were used in one story in a notable fashion. It's not even one of her best-known stories. So that, to me, felt like a really weak justification. I feel like they decided that the killer was going to be a giant some kind of animal. And they would just, like, scoured through Agatha Christie books and went, what one has an animal play an important part? Ooh, there's a wasp in this. Cool, giant wasps. So again, it feels lazy, and even though they find a way to connect it to Agatha Christie, that connection is so flimsy, to me, it doesn't justify the fact that this is still just lazy. And it just is. I'm sorry. So, like, that irritates me. Again, the way the Vespa form is used, and its narrative function in the story, all of that, I'm cool with. I'm fine with all of that. It's just the fact that it's a big wasp. Don't like it. But again, I do actually enjoy this episode because it is saved by the performances. I really love, and it's funny because as much as I didn't like the, the pantomime gag in Partners in Crime, I do actually kind of like the charades thing that goes on here with the Doctor and Donna. I think it's because, like, the Doctor getting to vent his frustration. Harvey Wallbanger! How was a Harvey Wallbanger one word? Like, it's that the way that it escalates, I think, is what makes this scene work, as opposed to the pantomime thing, which just kind of keeps doing the same thing for like a minute. This feels like things are escalating, and there's a sense of danger, and like, we got to figure this out, but we're injecting a little humor into it. So this works better for me, and I do enjoy that. And as much as I don't like the fact that Donna does kiss the doctor, like, why did every companion up through, God, did Clara kiss the doctor? I feel like she did at some point. I feel like, if I'm wrong about that, then at the very least, all the way through Amy, the companion kisses the doctor at some point, even if like there's no romantic feelings. Because with Donna there isn't, which is great. But like, I still wish she didn't do it. Like, it's just. But again, it's a better reasoning than most of the time that we get, at least to my taste and what I prefer. And I really like Donna trying to, get into the mystery. It's like, so she did kill him, so she didn't kill him, so she did kill, and it's just fun. The banter, the rapport, and also like the supporting cast is solid as well. I mentioned the vicar already, but honestly, all of them are pretty good, and I like that. I like, first of all, that Donna cordons on immediately to the fact that the son of the woman hosting this party is gay. And, like, her only complaint is that, she doesn't get to hit on him now. She's like, oh, they're all on the other bus. All the good guys are on the other bus. Or actually, that even it's implied that, at the very least, the father of this gay character knows, and he doesn't seem happy about it, but his frustration seems to be with a lack of grandchildren to keep the title going, which he doesn't exude a lot of like genuine anger at his son. And considering the way that could have been played, I mean, it's not tolerance. I'm not going to claim that what we see is tolerance from him, which would have been weird given the time. But, considering how heavy-handed it could have been, pretty well handled. He does get killed off, so it might get filed under bury your queers, but, that's a whole other thing. But in any case, I think I'll wrap it up there. Like, there's a lot of weird issues with this thing that I have, but ultimately, I do still enjoy watching it. So, it's an episode that is fun in spite of itself. If I think the main thing is, if they hadn't gotten as good a cast for, the guest cast for this, and if it wasn't Donna, if it was like, honestly, any of the other companions, this might be painful for me, but they managed to get some elements that work really well, enough to sort of overcome a fair amount of stuff that I don't really care for. But we'll wrap it up there. So, Unicorn and the Wasp. You seen it? What'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's a whole bunch of stuff down there as well, because there's buttons and links. There's the like button. Kind of important these days, it would seem. Plus, you can subscribe, and the Patreon keeps me going and keeps this channel improving. Plus, there's rewards for that, and there's merch, and there's my social media stuff, and all sorts of things. Click on them. Like the links, they take you places. But you don't have to. Because at the end of the day, folks, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings, and until next time, this council is adjourned.